Hey, we back. I'm here on Karuta, and today we're doing the more advanced clans guide. It's more kind of strategy about clans and maybe some more specifics about clans, rather than just simply how clans work, which is what I did last time. There'll probably be a link to that video in the description. But yeah, just generally, what's up with clans? What should you be doing in clans? So assuming you saw the last one, or generally know how clans work anyway, there's a clan. You should roughly know what all of these things mean. You know how to join a clan, what to do with a clan. So what should you be doing? Well, at the end of the day, your aim is probably to get the most possible amount of bits, right? That's what your clan's for. You take nodes, you get bits. That's basically it, really, isn't it? So in order to get the most bits, you have to consider a couple of things. Firstly, you have to consider the amount of bits that your clan is getting as a whole. So this depends on how often they're taking a node, which nodes they're taking, what their tax value that they're putting on the node is, what it normally is, and other such things. If your clan is always taking a node and putting it at 70% tax, then the chances are you're not going to get too many bits, because no one's going to work that node. Whereas if you're taking a node and putting it 1% tax, you probably won't get too much tax, because that's not much tax. You need a nice border ground. If you can take some rare bits as a clan as well, that's going to help you out, because the rare bits are normally worth a little more. Of course, rare bits only exist because there are clans that set tax to 70% all the time. But yes, anyway, that's just, people trying to have a monopoly, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, so that's the first thing you want to look at. Then what you want to look at is how many of those bits you are going to get, which is basically your tax share. So personally, because I'm the shogun of my clan, my tax share is pretty high. As a clan, if we took a node, I would get a lot of the bits, over a third of the bits, and assuming that I set the tax value to a reasonable amount, that is going to be a lot of bits. Because it's a small clan, pretty much everyone in it, if we did take a node, would get a huge number of bits. That's the idea. On the other hand, we don't take nodes as often because it's a small clan. Whereas if you went and joined a huge clan, they would take nodes really often. You would have a consistent supply of nodes, but your tax share is probably going to be like 0.1%. So it's a consistent and small supply. It's a bit of a trade-off between the two. Whether you want a big clan or a small clan, that's up to you. Obviously, I would recommend joining my clan, but that's up to you as well. As the high-ranking members of a clan, so for example the Tyros, you probably want to get as many people into a clan as possible, because your tax share is always going to be pretty high, because you're a high-ranked member of the clan. It might not be 37%, but it's going to be, even in the larger clans with like 100 people or something, as a Tyro, you're probably going to have a pretty large tax share, assuming you have a lot of followers. That's the other thing. It's not just down to your position here, it's down to how many followers you have personally. If you were a really low ranking member of the clan, but you've got 50 followers, your tax share is probably going to be pretty high, but it's unlikely that situation would happen. So yeah, like I say, it's a bit of a trade-off. Do you want to go for a big clan? Do you want to go for a small clan? At the end of the day, what you want is just to have a lot of followers. If you have a lot of followers, it doesn't really matter what size clan you're in, you're going to have a reasonable tax share, and then you can probably take a reasonable number of nodes. As for taking nodes, well, I've got the clay node up here. If I was to attack this now with, let's say, all the power that my clan has currently, which is 80,000, well, that's obviously a lot over this current power here, but we've talked about grace period in the last video. We get 4% of this 80,000, which is, well, basically nothing. It would do no damage to this. But let's talk specifics. What exactly would it do? Well, it would start an attack. Attack would then be open. I'm pretty sure it's going to ping the shogun of the clan or something like that. The shogun of the clan that owns the node at the moment. I don't actually know, but I imagine that's the case. And it puts a little message in the node tracking channel on the Karuta hub. And the attack has now started. Attacks last for 30 minutes, but the individual attack that you just did, say I did with this 80,000 power, that would take 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, it would slowly use up all the power that I put into the attack in order to whittle down the power here. Once the 5 minutes was up, if there were no subsequent attacks, then the whole attack is over. But if you or someone else then went and attacked that node again in those 5 minutes, then it would extend, and that next attack would also take 5 minutes to whittle down some power, and that would keep on going until the entire half-hour timer is up. At which point the attack is done no matter how much power is left. The interesting thing about this is it doesn't matter how much power you put into an attack, it still takes 5 minutes to go through. So you could attack with 10 power and the attack would last for 5 minutes even though you're doing basically no damage. Equally, if you attacked with 200,000 power, it would take the node in probably like 1 minute because it would have killed all the power that was available here in that short space of time, and the rest would just be left over. So even if you want to do overkill on a node, that's actually fine because it means that you can kill the node faster. Assuming, of course, you have enough power to take the node against the grace period and the power that's left. In this case, I don't, because it's a very high grace period, but just suppose, right? However, there is something that the current clan that owns the node can do, which is to defend, and if you just randomly go attacking nodes, they probably will defend, want to stop you taking it. What they can do is spend their own clan power to boost the power that's available on the node, and whereas we are affected by the grace period as the attacker, the clan that owns the node is not affected by it. So they would need to only put in about 5,000 power in order to knock about 200,000 power off me if I was an attacker with this kind of grace period, which is pretty biased, right, in favor of the defender. The defender has a much easier time defending than the attacker. Of course, if the defender is a small clan, they might not have much power because they just spent their power getting the node, but the majority of nodes are going to be owned by big clans that have power left over to spare, and they can quite easily defend a node if they want to. So in most cases, just simply attacking a node randomly is not actually going to get it for you, because the clan owner can quite easily defend it, and they're going to want to because they want to keep the node for longer. However, remember what I said about the timing. If you can attack with enough power, it will only take like 1 minute to go through as the attack. They have to respond in that 1 minute. So this is where sniping nodes come in. You can quite easily get a node off someone if you're quick enough. You assume that the clan members aren't going to respond in time, you set up a really quick attack and do overkill, and you hope that you get the node. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bit of a toss-up. What you can also do is wait for someone else to attack the node and then attack right after them with more power than they did. Since your attack is going through faster because you put more power in, then that means you will take the node first. However, again, it can still be defended. And if the other attacking clan then puts in more power themselves, they might take it first as well. So you still have to be pretty careful. It's a bit of a toss-up over who gets it first. The guaranteed way to get a node is to contact the people that currently own the node and basically just ask them if you can have it. There's this whole thing with most nodes with node managers who have a monopoly over the nodes, and they will charge people in order to let them take the node. So that's probably the easiest way to get a node. If you want to be guaranteed, you just ask the current shogun to let you have it. And that's, like I say, a much easier way to get it. It's pretty much guaranteed. The downside of this is they're going to charge you a lot to get it because you're going to be getting a lot of bits from the node. They're probably going to have some rules over what you can set the tax to and stuff like that, and who you have to give the node to after you're finished. And yeah, they're probably going to charge you quite a lot in order to get that. But like I say, on the other hand, it's pretty much guaranteed. So now it's up to you. Do you want to try and snipe the node off someone and get it for free, get loads of bits? Or do you want to pay the node managers or whoever else owns the node at the time a certain fee and follow their rules in order to get it guaranteed? Different clans will have different perspectives on which of these two options is better. At the end of the day, whichever strategy you want to go for, you will find clans out there advertising themselves heavily on public servers that will accommodate you, and you can get yourself some nice bits if you want. So yeah, that's pretty good. I would say as long as you're in a clan that's, active, then it doesn't really matter so much. You know, as long as it's active, you will eventually get some bits, and you can do the risky thing that my clan's doing, which is not being pretty small and hoping to hit the jackpot one day. Or you can go for the more consistent and smaller supply of bits from the larger clans. It's entirely up to you. I think as long as you're doing one of them, then yeah, it's all good. But I think that's about it for this video, so I'm going to leave it here. Bye!